Hello, Mr. Sunil Ramakrishna here. Basically, I am discussing one of the topic that is the most dangerous topic, that is city creation. In this, basically, one of the person told that basically we are creating the vitamins basically. So in this, basically, we are going to we discussed the Bollywood industry, we discussed the software industry verification. Now, basically, the earthquake verification. Basically, one of the person told that basically the earthquake basically which has came basically the maximum earthquake basically magnitude, that is also going to break basically, that is also going to break basically. So maximum earthquake basically was 9.4 basically, which has came in USA basically, that is in Chile basically. That basically data is also going to break basically. But which country basically it might be, that basically it's not 100% sure basically. Reason, lots of things basically has changed basically. Bollywood example basically we have taken. Here basically we have taken the IT industry examples also basically. Then basically we have taken the vitamin examples also basically. This basically are also basically the things basically which has created basically, that basically never get closed basically. That basically never get closed basically. One of the person told that basically few medicine basically are expired also basically, but they basically are still basically getting used basically by the public basically. That basically is the verification basically. That is also basically the verification. So vitamin A basically contains what basically? These all basically are groups who created the vitamin, and this basically it contains where the blast is going to happen basically, and how many blast is going to happen. That how many area basically the blast is going to happen basically. That is also basically displayed in the data basically. So it's basically so blast basically data. One of the person told basically in India basically why the blast is not happening basically. So that was very interesting question basically. That was basically very interesting question basically. Few people says that basically India data are basically getting used in the many countries basically. For example, India basically have around 1,75,000 cities. Assume that basically. So that 1,75,000 city basically are used in the human needs basically creation. So if there basically blast will happen basically, then basically it's going to affect to the whole world basically. But whole world basically, if anybody wants to get want to give the effect basically, then basically they are going to give the blast in India also basically. They are going to give the blast in India basically. And blast basically how happens, that basically we have already saw basically. We already saw basically. We already saw. So one of the person told that basically that India basically never basically blast happens. Why? That basically we have already saw. One of the person told that the most powerful city like America, Singapore, this all area basically are very powerful. The most basically powerful basically most secure basically, if you apply for the visa basically they checks hundreds types of verification basically. 100 and basically 1,000 types of verification they do basically, and they basically say that basically whatever government say na basically, that only basically they do. For example, government say that basically Sunil R Nair basically is not good, then basically they literally basically say that basically yes basically Sunil R Nair is not, Sunil R Nair is not good basically. Why? Because they say that basically we have to believe India basically. Why? Because in India, in Singapore basically lots of businessmen basically has done the investment basically. So we have to listen India basically. Because main is what basically? Main is the investment basically. Whatever investment basically you have done basically, that is the main basically. So Singapore basically investment basically is done by the few Indian businessmen basically. So they have to listen Indian government basically, and Indian government are basically connected with directly with the Indian businessmen, that are the rich people basically. And rich people basically what basically which kind of people basically are there, that basically we have already discussed. For example, one person is dying in the road na basically. For example, assume that basically rich. For example, one person basically assume that basically dying means, assume that basically I will take one example. One person is basically searching for job in Mumbai basically. He is going here, he is going there, basically each and every place basically is going. But Mumbai rich people basically is never going to help. They say basically that we will think of ourselves, or basically you will think of yours basically. So that is Mumbai city, and that is the rich people of India basically. So this is rich people of India basically. That basically they say that basically we will think of ourselves or basically we will think of yours basically. That is the example of TCS also basically. TCS say that basically we have passed our data basically, but nobody helped you, Sunil. So that basically is rich people basically. That basically they have told that basically this is only the rich people basically. So these all are the rich people basically who basically say that they basically will think of themselves or basically they will think of others basically. So like this basically trend has created by the Indian group basically. That is the Indian businessman, Indian Bollywood group who basically real people basically never stays in Mumbai basically because they know basically that Mumbai city is very dangerous city basically. That basically Italy example basically I have given. One of the person told that how many time it will take basically to Mumbai to get under sea water basically. So he told that basically the power company basically who are giving the power basically they only decides. Then one of the person told that basically they have created the Tata Power basically, but Tata Power basically can give the power to the power to himself basically. Sorry, only his power supply basically is going to work basically. Then one of the person told that no basically that is not possible. That is not possible basically. Because only his power supply basically, his power supply means only India or Iran basically from he basically came basically. The Parsi group basically came from Iran or Iraq basically. I don't know basically from where they came. They have created the city basically. They have created the country basically. So their TCS basically is a big group basically. So they have created many countries basically. So few people says that basically they will not take the power supply from there only basically. But that is not going to work basically. You have to take the power supply of entire world basically. Because your India people basically are in across the world basically. That's why basically. So you have to take the power supply of whole world basically. So that's why basically one of the person told that can you calculate that data basically, that how many time basically it will take to attract the sea water basically within the Mumbai city. Then one of the person told that basically how basically you can calculate. One of the person told that how you can calculate that basically. How you can calculate. One of the person told that one of the person basically given few example basically like this. He told that we have created one area basically. Assume that basically that is Bandra Kurla complex. And if they want to attract the entire sea water, basically they will give the power supply to the, for example, Bandra Kurla complex. From Bandra Kurla complex, basically they have created, as in they have created basin, and then basically they have created potato, and then basically they have created few buns also basically. So in Vada Pav, basically they are going to dump that data basically, and then basically the Mumbai city basically say that basically we basically can't basically live without Vada Pav. So they basically eats the vada pav. Mostly basically 98% people basically eats the vada pav. So that vada pav they are going to eat, and then basically the sea water basically is going to attract through Mumbai basically. So like this basically Mumbai are getting controlled. So it's very dangerous basically. But that basically happens very rare basically. That happens very rare. Reason, Mumbai groups are basically very professional basically. Very professional basically. The example is Sunil R. Nair basically. Has not got the job. That means they are not given the job basically. Why? Because they are very professional basically. Very, very, very professional basically. They told that they have basically got the order basically that Sunil R. Nair is not supposed to get the job in software industry. So they will not give the job basically. Assume that basically Uttar Pradesh, Bihari and Madhya Pradesh people basically are controlling the Mumbai city of the human resource of the software company. So they basically had got the information basically that he is not supposed to get the job basically. So they will not give the job basically. They will die basically, but they will not give the job basically. They will die basically, but they will not give the job. So like this basically Mumbai city is there basically. So lots of people say that basically Mumbai cities are like that only basically. So you can't change the person basically. You can't change the attitude of the person basically. You can't change the behavior of the person basically. You can't do that basically. Reason, their blood basically is like that basically. They will die basically, but they will not give the job basically. So like this basically the software companies are also like that only basically. Like this basically the software companies are like. So that's why basically 50% software companies are basically working from home and 50% are working from office. So in next video basically we are going to see it.